At this time, the chair will entertain nominations for the office of Speaker of the House. Representative O'Donnell, you are recognized.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. 2 years ago on this House floor, I nominated Representative Charles McCall to be our Speaker. I proudly make that nomination again today because of the achievements that we have experienced on this House floor over the last 2 years. Because of those achievements, the people of Oklahoma have a renewed hope and a renewed sense of opportunity. I was elected with Charles McCall 6 years ago. We came into the House together. We've served on committees together. I've watched this man up close. I know what Charles McCall is made of. He is a man of solid character. Over the last 2 years, he's led this House with honor and dignity and character. When he was first elected to this House, he discovered that Oklahoma was suffering from a $1.3 billion deficit. He learned that Oklahoma had the highest incarceration rate, not just in the states, but in the entire free world. And he learned that we had the second to last education funding of any state in the Union. Last night as I was watching the football game, it occurred to me a quote from Vince Lombardi, legendary football coach for the Green Bay Packers. Coach Lombardi said, "Adversity does not build character. It reveals it." And let me share with you how Charles McCall's character has led us through adversity. He led bipartisan efforts to cut fraud and waste from our state budget. Those cuts generated $800 million of revenue growth just last year. He led the fight for landmark, bipartisan criminal justice reform, and we are already seeing a reduction in our incarceration rate in this state. And he led a historic fight for education funding that led to $480 million being put into education, which wasn't there the year before. And along the way, he saved our residency programs in our state medical schools, and he bailed out the State Department of Health. And Charles McCall won those fights based on his character and his integrity and his ability to generate bipartisan support. Because Charles McCall doesn't see a Republican Oklahoma, and he doesn't see a Democrat Oklahoma. He sees one Oklahoma. And with all due respect to our governor-elect, Oklahoma's turnaround started right here on this floor 2 years ago. Charles McCall is an Oklahoma through and through. Pro-jobs, pro-growth, pro-life. Many words come to mind when we're talking about Representative McCall. Honor, dignity, but the word that comes to my mind is respect. Charles McCall is respectful of the other members in this body. He's respectful of this process that we go through in generating laws and a budget for our state. And he's respectful of this House as an institution. He's a statesman, he's a leader, but most importantly, he's a devoted father to his sons, Chase and Carson. And his wife, Stephanie, he is crazy about. He calls her the best thing in his life. Charles McCall lives his life and runs his business with one philosophy in mind. You can only be successful after making other people successful first. That's what makes him a great leader. Members, the man I am nominating for Speaker is a man of conviction, a man of faith, and a man that you can trust. Madam Speaker, I could not be more proud to nominate Representative Charles McCall of Atoka to be our Speaker of the House in the 57th Legislature.
Representative Osburn, you are recognized at this time to second the nomination.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I am truly honored to second the nomination of my friend and my speaker, Charles McCall. I've had the pleasure of serving with Speaker McCall for the past 2 years, and I've learned a lot about his character during that time. First, I've learned that he might quite possibly be the most even-keeled, calm in the storm person on the planet. He is definitely not a person of extremes, and I have never seen him more than a tick or two above or below the line. Last spring, during the height of the teacher walkout, he was also facing some pretty intense personal circumstances at home. His oldest son was graduating from high school, and his awesome wife, Stephanie, was battling cancer. That would send most people over the edge and into a cave. But Charles remained so steady and professional and accommodating that many people never even knew the load that he was carrying. He continued to graciously meet with all who sought his attention and time. Having a leader with a calming presence during turbulence and stress is important to me, and Charles McCall is certainly that. The second quality I've observed in Charles is a close cousin to the first. He is a deliberative, strategic decision maker. He makes every decision by first hearing and weighing all sides. And while that can frankly be annoying when I prefer an answer right now, Charles takes his time, never falling into the trap of being reactionary. That's what we need in a leader. Someone who is committed to making the right decision and not an emotional one. Someone who uses vision and principles to guide them while focusing on the task at hand. Someone who is not easily persuaded by changing circumstances or opinions. That, members, is how changes are made. It's time for us to make smart choices guided by principles and the facts before us. Charles knows how to consistently keep our shared principles at the core of all he does while also moving real issues forward. And that brings me to the third of 20 qualities that I want to outline. Just kidding. That brings me to the final and perhaps the most important quality I've seen in Speaker McCall. And that is that he genuinely wants the Oklahoma House of Representatives to focus on solving real problems for Oklahoma and not on unproductive politics or personal agendas. He recognizes that our time to lead is limited, and he refuses to waste any of that time on issues that only score political points. Although he wants the best for others, he is not willing to put anyone's career path or ambitions, including his own, ahead of what moves the needle for our entire state. The 57th Legislature is poised to do great things for Oklahoma. I'm proud to second the nomination of Charles McCall as Speaker of the House, and I urge you to join me in voting for him. Charles is classy and gracious, steady and positive, stubbornly refusing to take credit for important wins, and too frequently accepting blame he doesn't deserve. He is the definition of a leader. I have been honored to serve with Charles McCall, and I would be honored to call him my speaker once again. Thank you.
The clerk will declare the vote.
76 McCall, 22 Virgin.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is my distinct honor to announce that Representative Charles A. McCall has been elected Speaker of the House of Representatives for the 57th Oklahoma Legislature.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. I'm very humble. Thank you, members, once again for entrusting me with this great honor of serving as Speaker of the House of Representatives here in the great state of Oklahoma. I want to thank Representative O'Donnell, Representative Osburn for the very kind and generous nomination and second for this prestigious honor. I want to be the first to admit to this body that I am very less than perfect, but it is an honor to serve you in this house, and I will work diligently to bring honor to this institution and to work with the members, all the members of this chamber. I want to thank also the people of House District 22 for giving me the honor of serving as your voice at the state capitol. I will continue to represent you with dedication and integrity, and I will never take granted the trust you continue to place in me. I do have one very special constituent in particular here that I would like to recognize and thank: the Speaker of the McCall House, my beloved wife of 25 years, Mrs. Stephanie Ann McCall. Thank you. And thank you, sweetheart, for being here. Thank you for all the support, encouragement, and the sacrifice that you've made over the last 6 years, being both mom and dad at home when I'm here representing the people of our district and the state of Oklahoma. Thank you very much. I also, as you know, some of you may know and are aware of health challenges we have faced, and Stephanie and I both want to thank you for your prayers and support during that time. And I'm very blessed to announce that my wife Stephanie is now 7 months cancer-free. Also with me today that I'm honored, family members, I want to point out my 2 children are here, really now young adults. My oldest son, Charles A. McCall V, who's 19 years of age, who's now in college and just completed his first semester at the University of Oklahoma. Chase, glad to have you today. And most importantly, he's been asked to return for a second semester at the University of Oklahoma. Proud of you, Chase. You've done a great job, and in fact, I think your grades, your first semester at OU, are better than mine, so congratulations. My youngest son, Carson Hayes McCall, 16 years of age, is here with me today. Carson, thank you for being here. Carson is equally excited that his older brother is now in college and going back for another semester next week. Hey, Carson, many of you will see Carson at the Oklahoma Youth Expo this year, this spring, as he's involved in FFA and showing livestock. And Carson, very, very proud of you, and I thank you for all the help and support you give Mom at home when I'm not there. I'd also like to recognize and acknowledge my father, Charles Andrew McCall, for being here today for the beginning of my second term as Speaker of the House. And Dad, I want to thank you for all the support and encouragement, all of the godly advice and direction that you've given me in life and certainly in public service as well, for teaching me to love others, put others before self, and to put God above all. So thank you. I love you very much. And I would also be remiss and would like to recognize and thank my father's wife, Sharon, for being here today to celebrate this very special moment for us. Thank you, Sharon, for being here. Members, I'm proud to say that our state is in much better condition today than it was the last time I stood at this dais to address this body. 2 years ago, we faced crushing budget deficits that forced us to make very tough decisions. But we worked together and we did the job that Oklahomans elected us to do. It wasn't easy, but we did it. Democrats, Republicans, conservatives, liberals, and everyone in between. We came together to do what was best. Today, we reap the benefits of that. When I first stood here to accept the gavel as Speaker of the House, we faced a budget deficit of $1.3 billion. We had cut spending 4 straight years, but today we expect a surplus in excess of $500 million. Thank you. When I first addressed this body as Speaker, Oklahoma teachers had not received a pay raise in nearly a decade. Today, teachers on average earn $6,100 more. Thank you. I don't say those things to claim credit in any way, because they're not my accomplishments. They are our accomplishments. No one person or party can take credit for what we did together. Oklahoma's success is our success. I realize that many were not in this chamber over the past few years. Consider yourself lucky. I know the view from the outside sometimes looks messy. Believe me, the view from the inside didn't look all that great either. Our crisis was big, the hours were long, The terrain was rocky, but we met the challenge, and today looks brighter than when I first accepted this gavel. I think the lesson moving forward is that we compromised and we united around a single goal: to do what's best for the people of Oklahoma. I hope that's why each of us decided to run for office, to work for the people of this state. At times, we may have different ideas. We often stand strong for principles of our diverse constituencies. Principled leadership is important, and as representatives, we must work together to find a path forward that is in the best interest of all in this state. I know that working with Leader Emily Virgin will bring about opportunities for solutions, and I look forward to her leadership as minority leader. I look forward to working with all the members to accomplish great things for Oklahoma over these next few years. First and foremost is to continue our investment in public education. We have made great progress over the past year, increasing teacher pay and funding for our schools, but our work is not done. We must continue to invest, increase teacher pay, and make Oklahoma school children the top priority. My goal is to make Oklahoma's teachers first in the region for pay. And also to ensure our students are prepared to succeed and compete in a global economy. At the same time, we must put parents back in charge of their children's education and give underprivileged families more options and more opportunity to thrive. My goal also is to continue improving our state's economy so that our children will have jobs and prosperity once graduating from a top-notch educational system. I know there are many new faces in this chamber today, but you aren't the only ones new to the job. The people of Oklahoma elected a new governor in November, and I want to congratulate Governor-elect Kevin Stitt on his victory. Governor Stitt was a businessman and a job creator before being elected, and that experience couldn't be more important than a time like this in our history. And Governor-elect Stitt is the leader that Oklahomans chose. I'm sure I'm not the only member today who hopes that the new governor is successful. His success is our success. To that end, I hope this body and the Senate will agree to grant him the tools needed to truly reform the executive branch of state government. The most important tool we can give him is the authority to hire and fire agency directors. This will provide an unprecedented level of accountability and the people of Oklahoma deserve it. Last year, the House passed a measure that would create a legislative-level office to provide enhanced legislative oversight and accountability of state agencies on how agencies spend state-appropriated tax dollars through detailed review and reporting. I am pleased to see that that measure has leadership support in the Senate and will be advanced to the governor this session. Colleagues, the legislature is not a state agency. It is one of the three constitutional branches of government, and it must deploy the necessary resources to provide oversight and accountability on how state agencies spend the monies that they receive through appropriations. While we may not agree on every policy considered on this floor, one area I hope to have wide support is on the issue of criminal justice reform. Oklahomans have made it clear that they want us to put violent criminals behind bars, not low-level offenders who struggle with addiction. Oklahomans want us to protect their families, not punish people who face the challenges of poverty, mental health illness, or other barriers to success. We have made significant progress pushing rehabilitation over incarceration. I hope we can accomplish even more this session. More common sense, more hope, more opportunity. That is what Oklahoma should be about. Colleagues, with regard to how we treat each other, it is our civility and our decorum towards each other that will define this institution. Even one member who chooses to disrespect another disrespects the entire institution. The Bible instructs us to choose our words wisely. Let us decide today that the people's house is a house of honor. We must all rise up to meet this challenge. Thank you. Members, I'm optimistic about Oklahoma's future, and I'm optimistic about the 57th Legislature. Thank you once again for entrusting me to serve as your Speaker of the House. God bless you, God bless the House of Representatives, and God bless Oklahoma. Thank you.